And alright guys, welcome back to another episode of our DXB Interact series. And I believe I titled today's episode as How to View the Sales Trends of Any Property or Community in Dubai. So without further ado, let's head straight for it, shall we? First, we gotta head on to dxbinteract.com. You can see that I've already visited the website over here. And as much as I like playing with this funky little animation on the home screen, we have to head to the second section, which is the sold section over here. Let me just click on that. When we click on the sold section, you can see that we are greeted with a nice little filter over here that is very useful. And I'm going to show you guys why in a bit. So before we use this filter over here, I need to tell you guys that we can do two kinds of searches. The first kind being the master community and the second kind being the project in that master community. It's kind of like looking at the sales trends from a bird's eye perspective and narrowing down to your particular property. But what do I mean? I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean. Okay, so let's look at a master community, Madinat Jumeirah Living, the only freehold community bang opposite the Burj Al Arab in Suqayn 3rd. Madinat Jumeirah Living. All right. So I'm going to run through these filters one by one very quickly. You can see that the first one, choose your area or project, allows you to search between a community and a project. The second filter talks about your property type, whether you'd like to look for the trends of an apartment, villa, plot, or office space. We're going to look at all for this case. And the fourth one talks about the status, whether you'd like to look at the trends for off-plan properties or ready properties, or both in this case. The other two categories talk about the minimum size and maximum size. If you'd like to filter the records based on a particular size range in mind. And yeah, you can actually compare projects. I'll make another video for that. But yeah, if you click on search, you can see that the sales performance summary of Madinat Jumeirah Living, located in Suqayn 3rd, loads up rather quickly. And okay, let me break it down for y'all. You can see that you can look at the performance summary based on a specific time period, which in this case is year to date, from the 1st of January till the current date, which is the 23rd of July. Or you can sort out the records for the past 1 week, 1 month, last 3 months, last 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, and all. But let's not go that far. Let's talk about the year-to-date figures. Okay, so there are 3 basic parameters mentioned over here: the median price per square foot, the median price, and the number of transactions. I'm going to talk about each of them really quickly. The median price per square foot. What does median mean? Okay, median is a middle value, which in this case literally means that 50% of the properties had a median price per square foot of lower than 2,049 and 50% had a median price per square foot of more than 2,049. So essentially like a middle value. Okay, now you can see that there has been a year-on-year increase of 19.07%, which means that this value right here is exactly 19.07% higher than last year's value. Talking about the median price, you can see the figure mentioned over here as well, which has a year-on-year increase of 17.11%. Number of transactions 332 year to date, which shows us that there has been a year-on-year increase of 124.32%. Pretty good if you ask me. Now moving on, let's look at the sales history. These are the exact units that have been sold from the 1st of January till date. And this is where it gets pretty exciting, trust me. I'm going to talk more about these columns over here when we do a narrow search of a particular phase in Madinat Jumeirah Living right now after this. But for now, I'm going to skim past these records and show you guys the next section of this page, which is the line graph and the bar graph. This price per square foot section shows us a line graph, which shows us a yearly price per square foot. You can see that so far we are at the highest, which is 2022. Madinat Jumeirah Living hasn't really existed for a very long time. It's a relatively newer community. So if I put my mouse over here, you can see the year, median price, year-on-year increase. Okay, you know what? Let's get more detailed and narrow down our search to a particular phase in Madinat Jumeirah Living, a ready phase, known as Lamtara 2. I'm going to tweak these filters for you guys a little bit to show you how you can actually use this to your advantage in terms of looking at price appreciation for a particular community. Okay, property type, they're all apartments, so I'm just going to leave it at all. Sold by landlords, because we want to see how much landlords have been able to resell them for. Status, it's completed, so we're just going to leave that at both. Number of bedrooms, let's look at 2 bedrooms. And you can filter according to a particular size. If you, let's say, have a unit over here and you want to compare your unit to similarly sized units, but we're just going to leave that blank for now. Search, you can see that from the beginning of the year till now, there have been 6 transactions, and all these parameters seem to have year-on-year increases compared to last year. Let's look at the records. Okay, now this is going to get particularly interesting, so you guys better pay attention. So I'm going to break down these records for you guys, starting with each column. Column number 1 shows us the location and status. Location, Madinah Jumeirah Living or MJL, Lamtara 2. Status, it is a ready apartment. Right after this, you can see that we have a little option to look at the property number, the exact unit number that was sold on this particular date. Let's click on the lock icon. It asks us to log in. I'm going to log in with my work email. Alright, so when we log in, you can see the unit numbers that were previously locked have been revealed. And this particular unit is unit 606. Second column shows us the date and sold by. So it was sold on this particular date, sold by a landlord, not a developer. Moving on to column number 3, sold for. You can see that it was sold for 3 million dirhams exactly. And in these brackets, you can see that it was sold at a 21% premium by the landlord. So you can actually see the exact percentage of premium that the landlord had sold this particular unit for. Price per square foot, 1,901 dirhams per square foot. Now, specs talks about the number of bedrooms. This was a 2-bedroom unit that we had specifically filtered, and it was sized at 1,578 square feet. Likewise, you can look at the remaining records. You can see that all the units that were sold year to date in Lamtara 2, Madinah Jumeirah Living, were sold at premiums, the highest being an 80% premium for this particular unit, 4.1 million, sold on the 27th of April 2022. Now moving on, you can see the line graph over here. I'm gonna show you guys this graph section a little more in detail right now. Okay, so you can see that in the year 2020, the price per square foot stood at 1,600 dirhams. The median price is also mentioned there, you can look at that. It has gone up ever since to 1,900 dirhams per square foot. The sales volume shows us the sales transactions that had happened in 2020. There were 7 transactions. In 2021, there were 5, and in 2022, there were 6. So yeah, you can actually see that the landlords in this particular community for this particular phase actually had been able to resell their units at premiums. And yeah, that concludes our episode number 2 for how to view the sales trends for any property or community in Dubai. This is very useful because let's say you have an apartment over here in this particular phase that you'd like to resell. Let's say you have a 2-bedroom apartment sized at 1,600-ish square feet. You can actually filter according to that particular size range and look at the current market trends of similarly sized units that were sold year to date. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode. Stay tuned for episode 3, where I talk about the rental trends of any property or community in Dubai. It's been real, and I will see you guys in the next one. Woo!